Good. So I know it's getting a little bit complicated, but bear with us. Basically, what we have so far is that we have a bunch of routes, and we are working in the backend. We have routes for registering, for login. This one we might need to change, but let's stick with those for the moment. And then we have two endpoints, one for user and the other one for logging out. Okay. So let me actually comment these things. Basic passport backend routes, git status. So let's not make the same mistake again, and then git that, and then I can do the push, and I can do npm start again. So now that I have done that, good. So let's go with the next one. So now that we can start creating like the basic front end that we do for that. This is the right config, so we don't need to do that one. I do have this part, which is the proxy. We did have something like that already. So here we do have that part, as you can see in here. So, and we need change origin true. So we have that one in there. I wonder if this secure is going to be necessary. Let's do it like that. And then, oh, this is very interesting. So, oh my God, this is doing so many things. Let me see what this file is doing. It's creating like the whole context. Ooh, that's an interesting one. Okay, so let's actually go and do it. Like first start with the visual. So we are going to create in here in our components, we are going to create a new component that we're going to call it login.gsx. Okay, and in the login.gsx we are going to do the typical thing that we do for this. So we are going to export default a function which is going to be like a login, I guess, and then we need to return like some gsx. What this one is doing, it seems that it's actually creating like a whole page. So instead of putting this in here, let me go and put it in here because we have pages, and then I'm going to call this one login page. Okay, and then there we go. So if I create this one and then I go here into my main.js, and then if I come in here and then I say that I'm logging in, then this is supposed to be showing my login page, which I haven't loaded. So probably, there we go, thank you Copilot, and then the login page, I was thinking, oh yes, in my navigation bar I want to have another one that I'm going to call login in here. Okay, so here is, I have this one, and then if I then go into my page now, then now you can see expand on medium. There we go. Yes, so I don't have to go there. So now you can see I have an about page, a listing page, and a login page. Yes. Okay. That part we understand. Okay. Then let's keep on seeing what this thing says. So basically what it has in there, it's a form and it has handle submit and things like that. We can keep it like a little bit simpler, but then let me see. Here are the React routers, and then if I come in here, and I apologize for the alarms and things, that's the problem of living next to the street in San Francisco. So let's do a little form, and then that form could be something like this one. So we could go and just use that one. And yes, I wanted the one on the top, and I will try not to make the same mistake I made in my in-person class. going to tell you which one it was in a second. So let's say that I put this on a React fragment, and then I just put this thing. So this is going to be, I guess, the email. I don't like the control ID, so actually let me remove that part and remove this part. I don't like IDs in React. And then this is my email address, and then this is going to be login, and then this is the email address. The form control, it's so interesting that it's doing that, and this is the placeholder, and then this is the critical part that I don't know why they did it like that. But I wonder if it is because I deleted the control ID. Yeah, that might be the reason why that's necessary in there. In any case, I want to say, remember that I told you when I was explaining forms that in a control, like in an input, like the name is critical because it will define what are the parameters that you share with the backend. So that was the error I was getting in my in-person class. And then from this, everything else seems right. And now I have an email address and this one. And then check me out. I don't need that one, so I can get rid of that. And then don't want this text either because it's a different thing. So I can have that one in there. Perfect. So the next thing I want to do is that this form, when I submit on this one, so basically on submit, if we keep on seeing in here, like we can go and call this handle submit. But you know what? I think I don't need to do this, and this is kind of messed up because I'm actually mixing routing and elements. But yes, it will be basically this thing, but this is in out login. So now that I have done that, when I do that, this is going to send a request to the API out login, and then hopefully it's going to send the email and the password in there, and depending on which one it gets, some submit is not in there, so I can do that. So I can come in here, and then let me come in here, and then let's actually go. If I submit this one, then it's taking me to the about page, which is what we want, because if you remember here in the routes, the way we created it is using the redirect. So we can do this one, and then with a message that says invalid credentials or something like that. And then I will have to parse that, which I'm not super excited, but let's keep it like that for the moment. And then but basically we are going to stay in the login. So if I go into the login and I try that, then it stays here, and you can see it has the invalid credentials. Now let me, here in the users models here, oh, but I need the hashed password, so I cannot initialize it by default. And I'm going to have to, I guess, register. So no, I guess I can create another button in here that's secondary, and then I guess I say register, and I'm lazy like that, sorry. And pew 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 pew. So let me come in here, and then input group. Do they have like a button group? They do. So I can do that, and then I can put these inside of a button group, and then I can put that one in there in React Bootstrap. Basic example, but I actually want them separated. Yes, I guess I can do this one and then class name and then use, I like that one. Let's see if that's exactly what I was thinking. Almost. So I actually want margin to, oh, it's a button toolbar. Yeah, the button group is actually doing the opposite of what I want. If I change this for a div and I do that, does it change anything? No. So if I put a margin to bootstrap margin button, so spacing, yes, isn't that what I'm doing? Ooh. Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. So basically, I guess I will need to put this one in here. Yes, but then the problem is that the button group will make it look like that. There we go. And then I don't need the button group, and this is just for adding like a little margin, so it will not be there. Okay, so if I click on this other one, I think I will have to capture this one. So on click. I find it kind of ugly the way that I'm doing this one on register, I guess. And then, yeah, because one, I am not doing the ooh, interesting. Yeah, so actually, I think I want to do fetch API out register. Yes, that sounds more like it. And then in here, I want to get form data. It's going to be, so I can get, this is the event, new form data from, can I get that directly from evade target form? Will that work? Hopefully. And then can I do the form data in here? Hopefully. And then if this thing fails, need to close that one as well. So I want to try that, and I probably want to change. I wonder if the option that Copilot was suggesting will work. Yeah, let's keep on going with this one. And then I'm going to catch this error, and then at least like print it in there, like something like that. So at least in the console for the moment. Okay, so I'm deviating too much from the tutorial and therefore it's getting a little bit too complicated, but I'm doing it to try to make sure all of the steps are like explained. I wonder if the way they did it, yes, they do have another one that it's called register. Should I do it like that? So already have an account, so this one will send you to login. Yeah, it kind of frustrates me that they are, yeah, so in that case let me go that way, because I don't like it that I'm doing the I'm doing Ajax on one, and then in the other one I am doing this thing. So what I'm going to do here is that I guess I can create like an app link in here, so similar to I hope so, or let me see in Bootstrap, in React Bootstrap, how you do that. This is still React Bootstrap. So basically, I guess I can do this one. Can I do, how do you do that in here? React, Bootstrap, Anchor as button. Oh, so I can just do href. Thank you. Perfect. I like that as a. So basically what I want to do in here is that I want to have an href that takes me to /register. Okay. So basically this one in here, it takes me to register, which doesn't exist. And then what I'm going to do it's that I'm going to create, can I duplicate this file? Seems like I cannot, so let me create another one that I'm going to call register page and then GSX, and in here I'm going just to paste all of this code, and then I'm going to call this register. Basically it's exactly the same thing. I don't like repeating all of that. So let's go and say, at least put a header in here, register, and then register, and move that here, and then in my main JSON, GSX, sorry, I'm going to have a register page, and then I'm just going to copy and paste this one, and then this is going to be the URL that I use for register page. And then of course I have an error which I don't see. This one should be that one. What's your problem? I don't see it, I don't see it. Oh, I deleted the less than. Okay, opening tag. So now I have a register. This is login, and then I can register. And then in the register I can put, like, I like what Cloud Code was suggesting, that says something like a div in here. Do you have an account, and log in here? I guess that should work. Then I can just go in there. Perfect. So I can go register, and then let me see if I say John and then secret or whatever. I need an email. John example, and then I do that one. All fields are required. Which one I didn't provide? So but I'm happy that it actually provided some feedback in there. So when I am registering, so this thing sent it to this one in here, and then registering, I need email, password, and name. Okay, so I do need another one in the registry page, which is going to be email address, and then I guess I need name. This is type input, placeholder, enter your name, and then this is going to have name. What are we? No. In the backend, we expect name, email, and password. So hopefully that should do the trick. If I come back in here, then now I have that, John at example.com. secret, and then I do that. Perfect. So now it was created, and I am actually going to take this one, and I am going to cheat in here, and then here in my models I want this one to be already there, so I don't have to create it every time. I create a new user, so every time I test. So now, for instance, if I try this one again, the user already exists, beautiful. And then if I go into the login in here, and then I say that the email is going to be John/example, and then secret, then it lets me in. Yeah, perfect. So I wonder if I also need a logout now. So if I say John, like for instance this one or something, it takes me to API out login. Did it crash that? Undefined. It still is trying to find that password hash. So yeah, remember that I say that I wonder if deleting that will come back to haunt me. It seems like it did. So which one was complaining in here? In the config passport in the line 16. In config passport in the line 16. So when I try to do that one, I'm finding the username like this. In the models, how did I store it? So it's stored as password hash. So in there it should be fine. And I'm finding the user by that. And this one it's saying current properties of undefined reading password hash. But if it is undefined, then why it didn't get in here? That's weird. Let me restart this, and then to proxy error, let me run that again, and then do this. So if I do a.com and then whatever, good, but it still gets me that. Why? Oh, of course, tiny mistake. There we go. So now if I do that and then do this, perfect, and it tells me invalid credentials in here. Good, perfect. So that part, it's working, and this video, it's super long, so let me actually stop in there. So to recap, basically what we did is that we created like a login page. You can see here, you can see the register page that you see here. Both of these work now, and then I can also log in, as you see in here, when I go into John example and secret, and then it gets me to the correct one. Okay, so let me commit this status and git add the config and the front end source pages. Let's add everything and git commit adding login and register pages, and then git push. Okay, so now that I have done that, let me stop this video, and then what we are going to do next is, for the next one, we are going to try to get the user from the authenticated element in directly from the front end in React.